Hey guys, it's Eric and Mary from SideQuest Comics, and we have another Who Dat for you guys today. This is a little new project that I've been doing at SideQuest Comics where we take the Marvel Universe Handbooks, the DC Comics Who's Who, and we randomly pick one and go over them. Now, the thing is, I might be familiar with some of the characters. Mary knows nothing about these characters, so it's a kind of a let's get her first impressions, what she thinks of these characters, and then we'll talk a little bit about them and then kind of see if they're interesting enough to her. So today we're going DC. Hence I got the Aqua Bro shirt on today. And ever since that dang movie came out, Aquaman is always Aqua Bro to me now. I still like him though. But yeah, today we're gonna go DC. So I don't have as many of the who's who DCs yet. I've been pulling these out of my dollar dives recently. So I think they made quite a few of these. I don't know if I think they may have just did the one volume type of thing in the 80s. But yeah, I found a bunch of them in the dollar bin. So hey, why not? Now, these ones are kind of cool. They did a similar thing where they just had the big old cool covers. And, when we pick one out, I'm going to do what we did last time. I may change it a little bit. I don't know, but I'm going to post up a picture, make us a pop-up video. And then that way you guys can actually see what we're talking about a little bit better. But we need to pick a comic here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we only have 6 to pick from.
Number 4.
So I'm trying not to show you who's on. Granted, you may not even know who any of these characters are.
That's a lot of people.
So you picked wrong. No, or you might have known that one.
Batman.
There's Batman on that one, but maybe next time. So let me throw that in the old box that I got with all the Marvel Universes in there. So, okay, what did you pick out? You picked out. So this came out in 85.
85.
Wow.
I was in 5th grade.
Where were you in 85?
5th grade. The
Definitive Directory of the DC Universe, Volume 1X. What is that, 9? Right?
Yeah.
10 is X, Powers of X, X-Men.
Yes.
So yeah, those are all the characters. That's kind of a neat thing of the DC ones is they actually have like an index of all the characters that are in there. And their layout's a little bit different than the Marvel Universe. Our first character we picked out in Marvel Universe was like
a doozy. 5
pages of info that we actually had to pause it and read it because I wasn't super familiar with them. So DCs are laid out a little bit different. What do you say we pop open this one? Oh, I see. So you see any characters on there?
Well, I see Green Lantern.
I'll put up the cover so you guys can see.
I see Green Lantern.
Okay.
I see Great Friend.
Who?
Great Friend. GF.
Well, it does say GF on it. If you guys just to the right of Green Lantern there.
Yeah.
There's one more character on that cover you should know because he's had a TV show that lasted for many, many seasons.
On this cover?
Yeah, right, almost by your finger.
This guy?
What rhymes with Green Lantern? Green Arrow.
I would not have gotten
that, huh?
Yeah.
Even though he's had a TV show for like the last 10 years.
Yeah. No, I was looking at the Hawaiian guy.
Okay, what's on the back? Is anybody on the back that you recognize?
Well, there's the Green Arrow. There's the Green Lantern.
There's a lot of Green Lanterns on this, so maybe you picked a good one.
Oh, you never know.
One of my favorite characters in the DC universe.
I'm kind of curious who this guy is.
That is, just so you guys know, she is pointing to Alan Scott, the original Green Lantern.
I see a theme.
We're talking going back to the 40s. Green Lantern. Silver Lantern. Boy, that'd be cool. Silver Lantern.
Is that this guy?
Most lanterns are silver, I think. I don't know who that guy is. So that's the thing with DC Universe. I know the mainstream guys, your Justice League guys. But there's a lot of characters I don't know, especially when you start getting into those characters that are kind of campy. I think that's the one distinction I can say about DC Universe is some of those characters are, I always think of the 60s Batman TV show, Bam Pow, it's kind of tongue in cheek.
Splat.
Yeah. I mean, it's, but the new stuff is pretty serious with the TV shows that WB's been putting out. But let's pick out a character since we're rambling on here about just the cover and testing to see which ones you get. So she's thumbing through right now, and she's going to just randomly pick one. Hopefully not in the middle of something, not a 5-pager again.
Gentleman Ghost.
Okay, so Gentleman Ghost. Like I said, the nice thing about the DC ones is that their layout's a little bit more condensed. I'll put it right between us. So she picked out Gentleman's Ghost. I know nothing about this character. One of the things I do like too about the book is, they have these cool pictures of the character. They list who actually, the artist was on this. And this artist was Joe Kubert that did this. Many of you guys probably are familiar with Joe Kubert. Joe Kubert's art school. His kids draw. Adam, Andy are known for X-Men titles in the Marvel Universe. So I think he has a daughter too, actually, that was inker or color or something too for a while. But yeah, Gentleman's Ghost. Let's see. So Gentleman's Ghost. What do you think of this? I'll pop up the picture for you guys.
He has no head.
He has no head.
But he has a monocle.
Is it because he's a ghost?
No, he's pretty cool. He's pretty suave looking in his ghost tux.
Now this guy looks old school. Now down here below, do you know who this is right here? That's Gentleman Ghost, but you know who this is that he's fighting? Because this may be an indication, is he a good guy, bad guy?
Don't know.
So you guys that do know, that is Hawkman.
Hawkman.
Yeah, do you know Hawkman? Have you ever heard of Hawkman? He's a Justice League of America member. So
he's a good guy.
He's a good guy. So
Ghost Man's bad.
So you're 2 for 2 with picking bad guys. Well, I don't know if the first one, Kubrick, was a bad guy. He was kind of, it wasn't his fault.
He was easily swayed.
Yeah. So let's do his, so I like the way they have this broken down. Personal data. His alter ego is James Gentleman Jim. What does that say?
Craddock.
Craddock? Is that how you pronounce
That's his last name.
That's a weird last name, isn't it? See, occupation. He's right there. It tells you right there.
Professional criminal.
Yep. Single, go figure. And then they go into like known relatives, group affiliation, none. Base of operations. He's mobile. First appearance. Now here's where I like these first appearances, because if you really like these characters, you can go to your local stores, go online, track down these first appearances. If that's what you're into, you like collecting first appearances of characters, whether they're big characters or these kind of, what would you call these, D-lister villains or heroes and stuff. So his first appearance was in Flash Comics number 88. So that's going way back there. I'll pop up when that one came out. And they even go into height and weight. So he's 5'11", 174 pounds.
I do like tall men.
That's kind of weird that they go to that level of detail. But then they give you his brief history and his powers and weapons breakdown. So he claims to be a living spirit of Gentleman Jim Craddock, an English highwayman from the early 1800s. Let's see. He swore at the moment of his public execution that he would come back to loot the treasures of those who had condemned him. Even as he dropped through the gallows floor.
Because look, here's a picture of him being hung.
Yeah. Let's see. In that elongated instant before the noose pulled taut around his neck, he plunged through a momentary. Thank you. A momentary rift in the fabric of time, and suddenly found himself in the streets of modern-day London, transformed into a bodiless spirit as the side effect of his passage through time.
That's pretty cool.
True to his threat made on the gallows, he began, took all the great capitals of Europe and eventually attract the attention of the winged wonders known as Hawkman and Hawkwoman. And it also says see individual listings, so maybe he had pretty good ties with their series. Though the Hawks repeatedly thwarted the Phantom Plunderer's plans, they were never able to bring him to justice, and Gentleman Ghost ultimately faded from the scene. So he sounds like he's a character from back in the day that just doesn't fit into modern comics, really, the modern comic storytelling. Months later, he resurfaced in Gotham City, only to find himself challenged by the Batman. It says, see Batman 2. Several battles to date between the Dark Knight Detective and Gentleman Ghost have ended with no clear-cut victor. As of this writing, the Gentleman Ghost is still at large.
All right. I have a question.
Okay.
All right. DC. Automatically, you think of Batman.
Yep.
This mentioned Gotham.
Yeah.
Does every DC character at least pass through Gotham City?
So Gotham has always been like a reflection in New York City, kind of dark and seedy type of thing. But there's other fictional cities in the DC universe. Marvel tends to concentrate on like actual cities. New York, you have LA and Chicago, and DC Comics has made up cities like Gotham. Superman's a metropolis.
Mm-hmm.
There's stuff on the West Coast. I'm blanking on where like Flash is, and they all operate out of their own kind of city, but they're generally made up cities. Real cities do exist in there. I mean, New York is there, Chicago is there, and there is some activity there, but it seems like the big names have their own cities. Which I always thought was interesting about DC, that they did stuff like that. Now, they also talk about powers and weapons. So I'm assuming he's a ghost, right? So he could pass through things. I mean, that would be a gentleman. Logical gentleman thief. So he has average hand-to-hand combat. He was a highwayman back in the day. His greatest power is seemingly supernatural ability to disappear at will, making him almost impossible to capture. So he's a ghost. They don't say in this bio if he's living, is he undead? It's just some of that's a little unknown.
He also used a minimum of miniature tape recorders and hologram projectors to throw foes off. Well, that's pretty brilliant.
So kind of like throwing your voice almost type of deal.
As of this writing, it remains to be determined whether the Gentleman Ghost is a true phantom or merely an amazingly accomplished Charlton.
Which is weird with that origin and him going through a time-space deal upon them hanging him. Did some supernatural thing change him where he's not quite a ghost, but he's not quite human anymore? So he's a superhuman, like many of these superheroes and supervillains. But he's like, kind of reminds me, and you're not going to know this character. Maybe we'll get to him one of these days. Deadman.
That's his name.
That's his name. And that basically describes what he is. He's not living, but he's not dead. He's almost like the spirit that's trapped in limbo. Kind of reminds me of Deadman a little bit in that sense that, is he dead? Is he undead? Is he just an altered human, with powers because of what happened to him? Like an extreme incident is what changed him. Many of our heroes, that's what happened. Something extreme, whether it's an experiment or some kind of phenomena happened that changed them. So it kind of makes me interesting. He's kind of like a basic criminal, right? He's not a super criminal by any means. He's no Joker. He's no Lex Luthor. But he seems like he's a thorn in superheroes' sides.
Yes.
So what do you think of this first character for DC? We got two villains with our first two videos.
Well, I am really digging the fact that he has no head.
I think that's kind of cool. And I think that's
but a monocle.
And he still is wearing his monocle. Now,
and his hat.
I think that's just a choice of the artist interpretation, that because they say his powers are that he can turn invisible. and then you can't catch that. Very basic Ghost theme.
All right, that makes sense.
I mean, he's kind of an old villain, so they were very basic back then. They didn't get very extravagant with their powers and stuff like that, which is kind of, I think, the charm of DC.
And having his start in the 1800s as a female, I appreciate the dapper uniform.
You like the Victorian romantic age with the top hat. He's got a monocle. I'm surprised you can't still see his little curly mustache. And
well, a girl can dream.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have to look up some actual other pictures of him to see what he looks like. I mean, there's a hint of a face here. Like, that's what he looks like. Your typical guy. I mean, he's got a ruffle shirt on with a bow tie and stuff, and a big cloak. You did say earlier tonight we got to bring cloaks back.
Yes, I did. Tucks and tails.
We were watching old Universal Studio monster movies, so yeah. I mean, I don't know if this is just the coloring, or is he all white like that? Ghost, typical Ghost. What would that? That's stereotypical, right? The Ghost. He's all white. He's invisible. Very basic stuff. Makes me think of a character, a villain they would gear towards, like a kid's show. It's the Gentleman Ghost.
Ooh.
Batman's got to fight him. Oh, he disappeared. Drat. Oh boy. Or maybe Scooby-Doo, the mystery gang, they were trying to track down the Gentleman Ghost.
That does sound.
Doesn't it sound like one of their villains? That sounds
very fitting, yeah.
I don't know if that's just DC or if that's just the age. This is an old character, obviously, from, the 60s, 70s. I have to look up, like I said, and I'll pop it up there earlier, the date stamp of when he was appearing in these Hawkman and Batman stuff. So, but that is about it for this one of Who's Dat? From the DC Universe Who's Who guidebook. This was the definitive directory of the DC Universe, and that was Gentleman's Ghost. As always, you guys give us a thumbs up, a subscribe, and a comment down below. Do you guys know of Gentleman Ghost? Were we pretty much spot on with his character, judging how he is? Like I said, I actually was not familiar with him. So in a way, this is me learning about characters too. Not just you, but me too. And I mean, did you guys read any of his comics? He seems like he's an older one. Let me know down below in the comments section. And hey, while you're at it, don't forget to go over to Instagram. Give me a follow over there. I appreciate it. All those places where you smash the button. And that's going to wrap it up for this Who's Dat episode. Stay tuned for some more of these. We're having a lot of fun doing these, where we dive into the Marvel Universe and DC Universe. But until next time, when you're reading up on some obscure characters that you've never heard of, happy quested, and we'll see you next time.